Dames en heren, de populairste Ier aller tijden, Hozier. Is it okay if I call you Andrew, which might be a little easier? Andrew,
Yeah.
actually, you're here in Belgium in some Belgian talk show. When was the first moment that you realized that one day you would be just on some Belgian talk show?
Never, actually. So it's the last, I mean, if my life maybe 12 months ago was very, very, very different. So
Yes.
It's been a crazy, crazy year. So this, I was only thinking that actually while walking outside, to thinking how surreal and
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, this is. But yeah, never.
It's like you tell it, 12 months ago, everything was totally different. Before we knew this song that we just heard, Take Me to Church. What happened?
I don't know. I mean, about a year ago, that song was released in Ireland at first. And initially, I just put it out for free online on a website called Bandcamp. And we made the video on a shoestring budget and released it on YouTube.
Yeah. And it became a massive hit.
Yeah, it steadily grew. I mean, I think with the the internet, things can get as fast to the other side of the world as they can to your next door neighbor. So between that and a few platforms of just kind of people sharing the music.
Yeah, and it made you into one of the, well, not the most popular artists of Spotify from this year.
Yeah.
Have you had time to adapt to your new status?
No, I haven't. It's been the schedule's been hectic. It's funny, like you don't feel. I mean, you don't feel any different. You know, things around you in your environment seem to change. But I mean, it's.
What are the big changes?
I think.
Can you still go to the shop?
Of course, yeah, of course. In Ireland maybe I would be a slightly different public. In the eyes of the public. But anywhere in the world, I'm fine. You can walk around, and it's.
Wait another 12 months.
Yeah, she's been a world star for years now. She's my God. And now there's first studio album, the first full album.
Yeah.
It's a family piece. I heard that your mom even cooperated in making this.
Yeah, she painted that cover.
She has been a painter. So you come from what we call an artistic family?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, to a degree, my father was a drummer before I was born. He played in a lot of live blues bands. That's where I would have first had my musical education, his record collection, and been introduced to that music. And my mom has always been an artist, and yeah, she painted that.
It's like Matteo, who grew up as an actor, actually.
I don't know.
Ja, we hebben net gezien, Matteo. Dus, okay. This summer you were on Pukkelpop, but only 2 years ago, this is what you were doing. Okay, you are the guy in front.
Yeah.
This choir.
Yes.
It was in French.
Yeah.
Tell me about this choir, because it's a big shot, this choir, eh?
It was. Yeah. So I lent my voice to a few different projects, I suppose, before releasing music myself. I was always writing music. But Anuna, that's a choir called Anuna, the director of which is a man called Michael McGlynn. And so when I was maybe 16, 17, I think I joined. So it's very much outside my experience at the time. I had no experience with reading music, but I was always drawn to, I always loved congregational singing, just the sound of human voices in harmony. So that was a really lovely thing to be part of,
That's what we hear in your songs as well. Karin, je zit vol verbazing te kijken.
Ik vind dat keigoed. Allee, wat hem nu doet ook, hè, maar... wauw.
Ja, dat is straf. Het is zeer de moeite. Anuna heet het, wie het wil gaan zoeken. The nice thing is that you are still very close in touch with your fans. I think that's very important for you as well.
Yeah, it's increasingly difficult, I think. But a few, it's nice to try. When the album was released, the day the album was released in America, I put a phone number out on Twitter.
Yeah, you just put it on Twitter. Like this.
Nee.
Dus wie wil bellen? Dit is het nummer van Andrew. I hope this is a fake number.
That phone is switched off now. The day in question, that day, there's a lot of phone calls coming through, and I couldn't answer all of them. So people started sending text messages, and within a few hours, the phone collapsed because
It just collapsed because of all the questions. And what were the kind of questions that you got?
Well, the kind of text messages were sometimes just people saying, "Hey, I'm trying to ring you," or telling me about their day. A lot of the time, people weren't expecting that it was actually I was going to pick up.
Obviously not.
Yeah, so you'd pick up and somebody would there'd be a moment of silence. Five 10 seconds.
Awkward.
Yeah. And then just like, what are you doing? What are you up to? Like, I don't know, kind of. I'm late for class, like, whatever.
Ja, Halina, dat is misschien iets voor jou. Jouw telefoonnummer is op internet te zetten. Neem daar contact met de kijkers van theater en zo. Let's talk about your breakthrough hit, Take Me to Church.
Yeah.
The melody is in everybody's head. You are about to sing it for us on stage as well. Your voice, your overwhelming voice is always there, but the lyrics, what have you tried to say? Because it's a very poetic text.
Yeah, I mean, the song it's a love song, I suppose. So it's, but I think it's about the experience of loving someone and the experience of loving somebody and looking at that as a very natural thing, one of the most natural things about the human experience, and one of the few wonderful things you have to look forward to as a person. And so Take Me to Church is kind of an allegory, I suppose, for sex or lovemaking, and it's also about those organizations that would teach people to be ashamed of those certain aspects of themselves. Mm-hmm. So certain church doctrine that might say discrimination based on gender or sexual orientation, gender inequality, or the idea that even just a child being born is something that is sinful and needs to be forgiven. Mm-hmm. So, and in that regard, I think it undermines fundamentally a very natural part of the human experience and what it is to be a human being. Yeah. And so it's kind of a reflection on that, and I suppose in a kind of a tongue-in-cheek way, it's kind of electing a new form of something that is something that's tangible and something that's worth giving your life to, which is.
I think it's more than tongue-in-cheek, actually. I think it's pretty explicit. Laten we even kijken naar de clip van het nummer. So, Andrew, this is clearly also about gay love, obviously. Are you gay yourself? And maybe it's a strange question to ask, but make this kind of clip.
No, I'm not gay.
You're not gay?
No, I'm not.
Having that stated, but you thought it important to show this to people.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, the video references something that was going on in Russia, and something that is ongoing in Russia, which is was the banning or prohibiting of gay people for advocating for their own rights in public places. So it was this long campaign which grouped in homosexuality with things like paedophilia and bestiality, and tarring them as non-traditional sexual orientations, and banning any advocating for rights in public. And this, subsequent to this, and kind of along with this, was this rise of attacks and torturings of very young members of the LGBT community in Russia, which
were done. You wanted to give them a voice, or?
No, I wanted to spread awareness of it, but to spread awareness of that issue. But also, I mean, I didn't want to focus on the church so much in the video. I think, regardless of what the justification is, there are organizations all over the world that undermine very natural parts of the human experience, and I think this is just another example of it.
Yeah. I think it's marvelous what artists like you do with words and music. You have been nominated for a Grammy with all this.
Yeah.
which is big. Did you have to pinch yourself when they told you?
A little bit, yeah. I remember finding out I'm not good at assimilating good news. So
I think it's something you can learn.
Yes, yeah. It took me maybe a day or so, and then then I realized they can't take it back. I'm a Grammy nominated.
I think it's because people like what you do.
No, thank you very much.
And we're great. We thank you for being here. Good luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Rosier.
Thank you very much.